The Eight Immortals Travel East Chapter 11.
Imagine you are an ancient border official, right? A tidal wave of 300,000 invaders is just cresting the horizon.
Terrifying.
Oh, completely. They are looting, they're burning, they are virtually unstoppable. So you send this desperate, terrified plea back to the emperor.
And you're hoping for, a massive tactical response.
Right. But what is your emperor's actual solution? He sends you a man who was literally born with a face the color of toxic mercury.
Yeah.
A guy who claims his permanent address is in a celestial bureaucracy. Oh, and he just magically invented 300,000 imaginary troops to fight alongside you.
It's wild. I mean, it's a scenario that completely shatters our modern expectations of how history, and specifically military history, is supposed to function.
Yeah, totally.
We constantly crave measurable logistics. We want to see the supply lines, the troop movements, the clear cause and effect.
But we want the engineering blueprint of a victory, basically.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But when you delve into the world of ancient Chinese literature, and specifically when you crack open Chapter 11 of the classic text Journey to the East, you realize something pretty profound.
Which is...
For them, the engineering blueprint actually included the mythological.
Today, we are going to explore the extraordinary life of Zhongli. He's this figure who perfectly bridges the gap between, supernatural mythology and the gritty logistical realities of ancient military command.
It's such a fascinating blend.
It really is. So, we're going to take you on a journey from a bizarre, fiery birth all the way to the high-stakes command of an 800,000-strong army during this massive border crisis in the Han Dynasty.
Which is incredibly valuable for anyone trying to understand how ancient literature defined a true hero. What makes this text so captivating is how it seamlessly weaves divine destiny with very human, very pragmatic leadership.
Right, a hero wasn't just a guy who knew how to hold a sword.
Exactly. A true hero had to operate simultaneously on two entirely different planes of existence: the divine and the terribly, brutally human.
And to understand the general, we really have to start with that divine plane. We have to look at his unbelievable origin story.
Oh, absolutely. The birth story is essential.
So Zhongli Quan's background: he's born into the elite. He is from Yantai, the son of a marquis who served as an official in Yunzhong.
Very solid, noble, earthly background.
Right, but the text immediately hits us with this extensive list of aliases, like right out of the gate. He's known as Zhu, Jidao, Hehezi, Wangyangzi, and Master Yunfeng.
That's a lot of names to keep straight.
It is. It feels like you're reading a dossier for a highly classified operative who has lived a dozen different lives.
Well, the multitude of names is actually a profound signal to the reader. In classical literature, a name binds you to a specific realm or a specific function.
Okay.
By giving us this barrage of titles right at the top, the text is declaring that Zhongli cannot be contained by a single mortal identity.
Ah, I see.
Yet his existence spans different realms of influence and totally different stages of spiritual evolution.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if you think the names are complex, the actual physical birth event is staggering. It reads like a modern comic book superhero origin story.
It really does.
There's this strange light stretching for tens of feet. It resembles a raging fire, and it's absolutely terrifying the household guards.
You can imagine the panic.
Oh, for sure. And then the child appears. But he doesn't look like an infant at all. He's born with the physical appearance of a 3-year-old child.
Which is already strange enough.
Right, but it gets more specific. He has a round head, a broad forehead, thick ears, long eyebrows, and these deep-set eyes.
And the coloring, don't forget the coloring.
Oh, the coloring is the craziest part. He has a red nose, a square mouth, large cheeks, and a face and lips as red as cinnabar. So I have to ask, what are all these hyper-specific, exaggerated physical anomalies meant to signal to the reader?
What's fascinating here is that in classical texts, physical uniqueness is basically a shorthand for spiritual greatness, that visual of the cinnabar face. It's arguably the most crucial detail in the entire passage.
Because cinnabar isn't just a color, right? It's literal mercuric sulfide.
Precisely. In the context of ancient Chinese alchemy, cinnabar is the prime material. It's the core ingredient used in external alchemy, what's called waidan, to forge the elixir of immortality.
Wow.
By describing his face as cinnabar red, the text is telling you that his physical body is literally made of, or infused with, the foundational element of immortality. He isn't just destined for greatness, he's biologically constructed for it.
That reframes the entire description. He isn't suffering from some strange medical condition. His exterior is broadcasting his internal vital energy.
Exactly. And that explains the 3-year-old appearance, too. Ancient physiognomy viewed the physical form as a direct manifestation of energy. If you're born looking 3 years old, you've completely bypassed the fragile, vulnerable stages of human infancy.
His energy is already fully crystallized.
You hit the nail on the head.
Hmm.
And those features, the broad forehead, the thick ears, the long eyebrows, in classical face reading, these are the highest markers of immense longevity and profound wisdom.
It's like his spiritual resume is written directly into his bone structure.
Exactly.
And his behavior perfectly matches that bizarre biology.
Yeah.
For 6 days and 6 nights, this newborn doesn't cry, he doesn't speak, and he doesn't eat.
Just a total silent fast.
Right. It's almost like his body has to acclimate to the heavy atmosphere of the mortal realm or something.
Yeah, you could definitely look at it as a recalibration of his energy.
And then the 7th-day miracle happens. He leaps up, again, a newborn just jumping to his feet, and he makes this earth-shattering declaration.
A very specific declaration.
Yes. He says, "My body wanders in the purple prefecture. My name is written in the jade register." For you listening, this isn't just a poetic way of saying I'm from heaven, is it?
No, not at all. It's incredibly bureaucratic.
Yeah.
We often project these Western ideas of a cloudy, ethereal paradise onto ancient texts.
Angels and harps, right?
Right, but the Taoist celestial realm was envisioned as a hyper-organized cosmic mirror of the earthly imperial court. It had departments, ministries, endless records.
So what are these specific places he mentions?
Well, the Purple Prefecture is a specific celestial location for enlightened beings. But the Jade Register is really the key.
It's like the ultimate VIP list.
Even more than that, it's official celestial tenure.
Oh.
If your name is in the Jade Register, you are an officially recognized immortal bureaucrat of the universe.
Wow.
The 6 days of silence, followed by that declaration. It's a structural way to prove that his allegiance belongs to a higher realm before he ever really interacts with the mortal world.
Okay, I want you, the listener, to really hold on to that concept, because we are moving from this divine, otherworldly infant to a grown man who must deal with very worldly political chaos.
The transition is intense.
Right. How does an immortal being function in a geopolitical crisis? Because Zhongli grows up and becomes a great general for the Han Dynasty.
He steps right out of the mythological and directly into a catastrophe.
A complete nightmare of a crisis. The northern tribes are invading, and the text describes their momentum as being like a landslide or a tidal wave.
That language is so evocative, it's an unstoppable natural disaster.
Exactly. They are kidnapping women, looting civilian wealth. The border officials are fleeing in sheer terror. It's total collapse.
The empire is experiencing a profound psychological break at its edges.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's talk about the psychological warfare of numbers.
Oh, this is such a fascinating aspect of ancient warfare.
The invading tribes have over 300,000 troops, which is devastating. But they don't say that. They officially claim to have 500,000.
They're weaponizing panic, inflating the numbers by 200,000 just to cast a more terrifying shadow over the Han Dynasty.
Yes. So the emperor receives this terrifying inflated report. What does he do? He turns to Zhongli. He commands him to take over 500,000 actual Han troops, but tells him to officially claim 800,000.
It's a massive, high-stakes bluffing match.
It reminds me of modern public relations or, aggressively inflating a resume. Both sides are just making up numbers to intimidate each other.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's actually akin to a disparate government trying to stop a run on a bank.
Oh, I like that. Walk us through that analogy.
Well, when a bank run happens, the vault doesn't actually have enough cash to cover the panic. If the public realizes this, the system collapses from within.
Right. Everyone rushes to withdraw their money and the bank fails.
Exactly. The emperor is facing a military bank run. His people are terrified by the tidal wave. By claiming 800,000 troops, he is essentially stacking fake gold bars in the window.
That makes perfect sense.
The numbers game is a crucial part of ancient psychological warfare. He isn't just trying to intimidate the invaders. He is actively constructing a myth to stabilize his own shaken capital.
And the capital's definitely shaken, even if they won't admit it. The irony of the capital's reaction is wild. The border officials are running for their lives in the mud, but in the capital. They throw a grand farewell banquet for Zhongli.
Silk robes, fine wine.
Yeah. The court officials are writing poetry, claiming that Zhongli is just laughing and chatting while he goes off to effortlessly defeat the enemy. His reputation is just bound for history, they say.
The contrast is stark, but the dissonance is the point. The imperial court desperately needs the myth of the effortless divine general to be true. The reality of the landslide is just too traumatic to process.
So they just filter it through poetry while they panic internally.
Exactly.
But armed with this massive, newly inflated army, 500,000 actual men and 300,000 imaginary ones, Zhongli has to actually transform this chaotic mob into a disciplined force.
He has to make the myth real.
Which brings us to his defining speech to the troops. And honestly, for a guy whose name is in the Jade Register, he becomes intensely focused on the mundane logistics first.
Oh, he has to.
He is meticulously checking the chariots, the rations, the armor, and the weapons.
Because an army of 500,000 men is a logistical impossibility without absolute perfection. If a divine being ignores the grain supply, his army starves before they ever even see the enemy.
Right, and once the logistics are checked, he gives his speech. He lays out this traditional worldview. He tells them that historically, the center, meaning China, controls the outside.
He's invoking cosmic order.
Yes, he says it is unprecedented for the barbarians to successfully invade and shake the ancestral temples.
He's elevating the conflict. They aren't just fighting for territory, they're the divine defenders of the ancestral temples, the spiritual anchor of their civilization.
It's an incredibly noble, high-minded speech. But wait a minute. He just gave this beautiful speech about protecting the sacred ancestral temples, but then immediately pivots to threatening to cut off his own soldiers' heads if they step on crops. That is a massive shift in tone.
It's definitely jarring to a modern reader.
Very. He lays down these strict rules of engagement. Advance bravely, never retreat. On the march, do not destroy crops, do not loot civilian wealth, and do not assault women.
Standard rules to protect the populace.
Sure, but the duality of consequences is brutal. Violators will literally be beheaded as a public warning, but, those who fight bravely get heavy rewards and promotions. How do we reconcile this?
This raises an important question about the dual nature of military leadership in the text. What you see is a tonal shift the text actually sees as a necessary synthesis.
Okay, explain that.
True leadership here requires both a divine, noble justification, protecting the center, and ruthless, pragmatic enforcement.
Because of the size of the army.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about 500,000 armed, terrified men marching through the countryside. If they don't have perfect discipline, they forage. If they forage, they loot.
And suddenly they are destroying their own country.
Right. Without the literal threat of the sword, an army of 500,000 men would become just as destructive as the invaders they're trying to stop. The earthly violence of the beheading threat is the mechanism that maintains the divine moral high ground of the mission.
Wow, so he can't just be the immortal from the Purple Prefecture. He has to be the iron-fisted pragmatist in the mud.
He has to embody both entirely.
And the final image from the text is cinematic. The army is divided into 3 teams. Their war banners are so numerous, they literally block out the sun.
The gongs and drums are shaking the sky.
Yes. And the fierce winds are moving their horn bows as they march toward destiny. It is the ultimate picture of martial perfection.
A terrified mob forged into a disciplined, unstoppable force.
If Zhongli's name was already written in the Jade Register of the Immortal Realm on his 7th day of life, does his intense earthly military discipline actually matter?
That is the ultimate philosophical tension of the story.
Right. When divine destiny meets the harsh human rules of war, which one is truly responsible for the victory? Are they succeeding because the universe ordained it from the moment he was born? Or are they succeeding because a general demanded absolute, terrifying discipline in the mud and the blood of the march?